Hey, this is David. I'm working through this exact situation right now. I'm going to show you video of a house that we're working through. What I'm about to talk about. Let's talk about what happens when you inherit a property and your siblings, uncle, aunt, somebody in the family that is vested. It's called vested in the property because there was no will, or if there was a will, they're vested in a property. The parent passes away, somebody passes away, there's a house, multiple heirs inherit it, and one family member says, I'm not going to sign. Now, what do you do? If you're dealing with this situation right now in Texas, stay with me. I'm going to walk you through what you're going to probably have to work through to get the title clear and transfer to a buyer. And it's going to take some time. So just a quick story of the house that I'm going to show you on the screen here. It's a house in Fort Worth. It's been vacant for, gosh, the gentleman that owned it with his wife died in 2012. And there's been a homeless guy, a contractor they knew, or scrapper guy, living in the back of the house for almost 5 years now. It was in good condition when that gentleman passed away, and they had an offer for the property for Haltom City was doing just fine. About 2016, 2017, there was an offer for the house for $210,000. Because of this issue, because of one person, one family member, a brother, doesn't want to sign the divesting documents, one signature, one notary could take care of it, and they would get some money for the property. Now the property is selling for $50,000, but it's probably not going to sell for that. It's probably going to go to Tarrant County tax auction here in November because the brother doesn't want to sign. Some reason there's a dilemma, and you have two other brothers, a mother, no will, and you can't give regular title policy, title insurance on this property. So I'm going to give you an example in this video. How do you get through it? So to go by 1, 2, 3, 4, to give you some bullet points, this is not going to be, you have to remove the emotional part. The process in Tarrant County in Fort Worth for this house, it's just going to be a legal process. You have to figure out if there's a will. On this property, it was apparently stolen when the safe was stolen from whoever was squatting in the property, and there's no evidence of a will. So if you have a will, you're going to present that to a court. And with this situation, this is going to be a small estate affidavit where they're going to file for just a small estate under $75,000 in Texas. And I'm not completely sure if they'll do independent administration for that, but that's the process you're going to go in. You're going to file it. You're going to figure out if there's a will. If there's no will, let's just say there is a will. Make it easier. You're going to get appointed as the executor. Most likely, independent administration is going to be assigned, approved for you to act on the behalf of the estate independently of all the other heirs. And the executor is going to have the authority to sell this house, your house, inherited, when your siblings or family members don't want to participate in the closing of the estate. The executor in this situation is going to have the fiduciary duty to act in the best interest of the estate. That's huge. All right, let's go into if you don't have a will now. So in this situation, the house I showed you and the house I'm working through, and it's sad to say 80% of the houses that are probably need to be fixed up, there's going to be no will involved, unfortunately, because people just don't. If they just have a house and they live there their whole lives, and either they're married or they get divorced and they have several kids, they don't really prepare their estate. So there's no will. A court is going to have to establish who the heirs are. And then once the heirs are established, in this situation, they're going to be like the three brothers and the mother. It's all going to be most likely tenants in common. They're going to have a tenant in common situation, which means they own it together. If the independent administration is not approved for them to sell it. So everyone has to sign in this situation. And typically, whatever the court says, the title company is going to have to issue a title policy. And there's a lot of people that disagree with me when I first tell them, or they don't really understand. But when you're working through a title company, they're going to have to issue a clean title. So this process I'm talking about, when everyone needs a sign, even if in some cases when there's an independent administration, the title company that you're going to sell eventually, they're going to have a roadblock. It's going to be a stalemate because they're going to force everybody to divest from the property so that there's no claims in the future. So you have three options when it gets to this. You have no will or will. Like I talked about before, you can file probate. But the easiest way for you to resolve something like this is a buyout. You're going to buy out one of the other siblings. offer an amount. Hopefully they'll agree and they'll sign the affidavit or a deed to vest out of the property. That's the easiest situation. The next one is I guess it'd be 4 months to could be a year to do a partition lawsuit where you're parting the property and taking away their leverage of them deciding to sell the property and putting that in the hands of the judge. That's a partition lawsuit is a legal process where the court can order the property sold, divide the proceeds according to the ownership percentages. It's not fast, it's not cheap, but it's the leverage you need in a situation like this when you have homeless people moving in and destroying the property and stealing things. And the third option you have is going back to the probate court. So you have probate court approval. If probate is still open, which I find it that a lot of people just never close out probate when they have real estate and the house is distressed. There should be a dependent or independent administration assigned as like it's an executor. Somebody's acting in someone's behalf, but they call it a dependent administration, an independent administration. You still need the court approval to sell. If an heir objects, the judge will decide. In this situation that I'm talking about, it's going to force the hand of the sibling, which just costs the family so much more money, and it takes away the money that they eventually will end up with. So to end the video is, in my experience, it's rare for this to be about the price. There's usually some type of emotional attachment to the property. One sibling actually probably lives in the house and they don't want to move out. There's unrealistic value expectations where they think because of what Zillow says, they think that's worth the house, even if the roof is caving in, or if the roof is caving in, they think the land value is more something. Or, these situations bring up old family dynamics where everything starts to resurface, emotional, anger, everything. Something happened in your childhood that you want to hold your mom to in this situation. I don't know. And it just comes down to grief, probably. You don't want to help somebody else out because you think you're right. And, sometimes being right cost everybody money, and that's what they want, probably. So, the taxes are real in this situation. The taxes are real on your house, probably, that somebody's holding over. The insurance, if you have any, is real. It costs money every month. Utilities, if the utilities are on, it costs money. And the liability, if somebody moving in and the house collapsing on them, that's real these days, to be sued over somebody like that, a squatter moving into a property and get injured. There's so many things that go wrong. Vacant houses just don't get better over time. They get worse. We buy houses. I'm an investor. I'm a real estate broker in the area. What is common is if you are the independent administrator or an executor, you will have the authority to sell and move forward with the sales process. But with the contract and agreement in place, we have options to pay people forward, pay people off legally, negotiate to have these deeds signed, cash for keys to the people that are living in the property, most likely, negotiate with family members so they could get a dollar amount so you don't have to go through the court process. At the end of the day, to close out this video, you just want to eliminate the court involvement, because those decisions are left up to somebody that has no emotional ties to the property, have no emotional tie to the family. And you, if you're holding out as a sibling or you're an executor or an administrator, remove the emotional attachment for a little bit and try to work together to resolve a situation that will benefit you in the long run, and just move on. But we could help you as an investor. We could put some money on the table to help you make decisions if you don't have the money.